Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped, and welcome back to Anthony James Cars. Now I'm actually here today to revisit an old friend, but I got an email from Daniel saying, come and drive this car, but actually if you want to, you can have a go at that. An FIA spec'd Cobra. Now, it's actually a really cold day today. Although it started off sunny, I drove through snow on the way here. That's why I've actually borrowed a jacket, because I was freezing cold. And I'm not so sure I really want to take that out in the snow or very cold temperatures, but I will be back. If you would like to see this stunning Cobra on the channel, put it in the comments below, I'll come back. But no, I'm here today visiting an old friend. I was here a couple of months ago having a look at an amazing family of Porsche 911 996 generation cars, and I drove the GT3. I didn't drive the GT2, and I regretted that decision, so I'm going to make amends today. Now then, before we get talking about the GT2 behind me, I'm excited to be working with the guys from Insta360 on this video. Again, trying out their new Insta360 ONE RS camera. Now this camera has been designed specifically for car enthusiasts, and I'm excited to see how it performs because it's actually got two interchangeable lenses. There's this one which is called the 4K boost lens, so it films in 4K. It also takes pictures with a 48 megapixel lens. And then on the camera at the moment is the 360-degree lens. That can film up to 5.7K, and that gets you that amazing 360-degree shot that I used actually in another Porsche video when I had the Porsche 992 GT3. I was using the Insta360 ONE camera. So really excited to see how this one performs. What's really cool is it comes in a case. You can swap the lenses over. So I'll kind of talk through how I'm using that in the film. But for now, let's get talking about the car behind me. Yes, regular followers of the channel, I'm sure will remember just a couple of months ago, I was here at Anthony James Cars looking through a superb collection of 911 996 generation cars, all silver, all manual, very, very special. And for me on that day, the GT2 was definitely the star of the show, but I decided not to drive the car on that particular day for, I think, three reasons. Number one, I'd very recently driven the 992 generation GT3, and I was quite keen to compare that with the 996 generation GT3, so it was the GT3 that I drove. Second reason was it was a pretty grotty day that day. It was raining, there was a lot of standing water around, and this car has quite a reputation, and it was quite a significantly more valuable car than the GT3. And then finally, I've got a friend of mine with a GT2, and I thought I would wait and hang fire to scratch my GT2 itch until I drove that car, but I just ran out of patience basically. Now, that whole collection has now been sold. This is the only one remaining, and I was talking to Daniel on the phone. I said, look, if you got anything really cool, I'd love to kind of come down and take a look. And we talked about the Cobra I mentioned in the intro, and he said, well, the GT2's still here. And I was like, oh, it's a nice sunny day, I'm coming. Unfortunately, it's a bit colder than I thought it was going to be. But yes, the GT2 for me, there's such a heritage, a motorsport heritage, but also a reputation that comes with this car. Basically, it's a turbo with just rear-wheel drive, a lot of aero, and an awful lot of race pedigree. But I think this particular one looks absolutely stonking. But the rear-end view for me is definitely my favourite. Now, if there was an award for Rear of the Year, I think this car would definitely be in the running. This big carbon fibre wing, I guess when you compare it to modern day Porsche 911s, especially on things like the GT3 RS or the GT2 RS, this is relatively subtle, but it certainly makes a statement. I've never been a massive fan of the 996 headlamps or tail lamps, but I think with the wing and the sort of other accoutrements on the back of the car, they get lost a little bit for me, which is a good thing. And then you've got the quad exhausts, GT2 badging. I just think the rear of this car looks absolutely mega. Now, before we jump inside, let me tell you a little bit about the spec and the performance of the GT2. This 996 GT2 is a super rare Clubsport edition with roll cage and is powered by a 456 horsepower, 3.6 litre twin turbocharged flat 6 Mezger engine, driven through the rear wheels via a 6-speed manual transmission. Effectively a 2-wheel drive 911 turbo on GT3 suspension without traction control or trick stability software, so you're very much on your own. It was mind-bogglingly quick in its day, with a top speed of 196 miles an hour, 0 to 62 in 4.1 seconds, and 0 to 124 miles an hour in 12.5 seconds. So, as you can see, lots of performance. The interior of this is very similar, obviously, to the GT3 996 that I drove. You know, there's no sat nav and so on. There's plenty of carbon fibre, but the most important thing in this car is that. Yes, I have to swap the cogs myself. The clutch weight is pretty heavy, to be honest, on your left leg, but is a really great driving position. There are full harnesses in here, but I won't be using those. I'm just going to use the 3-point inertial reel. And then on the rear roll cage, you can see the adjustable suspension at the back. I've got these kind of shock reservoirs that you can, again, dial in or out on your rear shock performance. Won't be doing that either. I'm just going to leave it as it is. But yes, very, very special. So I reckon we get some cameras set up and head out onto the road and take this bad boy for a drive. It's only got 51,800 miles. Only? Well, it shows it's been driven, right? It's not been a garage queen, and I absolutely love that about this car. Oh, right then. Are we ready to take out the Widowmaker? Now, I'm quite tempted to use the whole racing harness thing, but really on the main public road, they're generally more of a pain in the bum, to be honest. So, touch down. Sounds really nice. And I'm going to take it very gentle and just warm the car up. Luckily, it's actually stopped snowing and the sun's come out, which is very unusual for me when I'm filming here. Normally it's raining and everything. So, let's take this car out and put it through its paces. The first thing, very, very apparent, is it's pretty firmly sprung. But yeah, these cars have the reputation for being a little bit unforgiving. So you've got the turbocharged flat 6 motor, and normally in a 911 turbo you get a 4-wheel drive. In this, it's just rear-wheel drive. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty special. Okay. Now, it's a couple of months since I drove the GT3, but I tell you now, straight away, it feels very different. Even just on very partial warming the car up throttle, you can feel the boost. So this is going to have a good amount of turbo boost to it, I'm sure. Very firmly sprung, steering very, very direct. It's kind of tracking and tracing quite a lot. Let's head right down here. What a view out of the side mirrors. I've got just the top end of that big air intake that's on the rear wing, or the rear wheel arch, just by the rear wheel, and then I can just see the side of that huge carbon fibre spoiler. Very cool. Right, here we go, onto the dual carriageway. That's about half throttle, and you can really feel the pull. You can really feel the turbo spooling up. What a special car, man. Like, seriously? Now, I am glad didn't bring this car out when I drove the GT3 in the wet, because it does have very large section tyres on the rear, all the power going through the rear wheels, but the feel of it, the feel through the steering already, the fact it's a manual gear change, the fact it's such an icon. I can't believe this car's not been sold earlier. People, there is a bargain waiting to be had here. Oh, let me find a B road right now. Some pretty special Porsches in my time, but right now I think I'm driving one of the most special. Okay, sadly it's quite busy today. Turn of pace of this car is it's quite good, quite good. I think for me it's just the feeling I've got through the steering's so light. And what I love about the cabin is it's so, compared with modern day cars, there's so little stuff in here. You know, there's one of these, remember these, the cigarette lighter? There's no sat nav, very basic stereo sound system. I do have climate control. I've got no buttons on the steering wheel whatsoever, and just the iconic 5 911 gauges, the big one in the middle being the rev counter. I've got the odometer on the left hand side rated up to 200 miles an hour, and then I've got a range of different temperature gauges, and obviously the all important fuel gauge, which I'm pretty sure in this car moves as quickly as the rev counter. Okay, here we go. About as much as you can do on a UK public road. A couple of pulls in 2 gears and that's it. I mean, this car's so quick. It's one of those frustrating cars on the public road. You just can't tap into its full potential. It just gives you an inkling of what it's going to be like. It's a very, very boosty car, which is really cool. It's so old school. You kind of just wait for the turbo to spool up and then you can feel the power build and then boom. And that, I guess, if you were really on it, if you were really driving this car hard, that would be a technique you'd need to really get your head around, is how best to utilize the turbo. Modern day turbos are so aided by other things to help them with reducing that turbo lag, but when the boost and the turbo lag comes in, it's wicked. I need to try and demonstrate this. Let me do a pull in third. I think there's a straight just round the corner here. Right, I'm in third gear, 2000 RPM, about 25 miles an hour. Foot to the floor, nothing, 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 nothing. Everything! So about 3000 RPM, your world comes alight and you have to be on your game, on your A game, otherwise that ditch or that field will become your best friend. Days. I'm not so sure I've driven a car with such awesome amounts of turbo lag. Okay, so little bit of behind the scenes. What I'm now going to do is I'm actually going to change the lens on this camera to the 360 degree lens. So far I've been using this 4K boost lens. It's got mega image stabilization, but all I need to do is just quickly clip this, slide the camera out of the holder, take the battery off the bottom, if you can see me doing that, super easy, and then you just literally pull these two apart. So that's the lens, that's the kind of camera where the SD card is, and then I've got the 360 degree lens that I literally just clip on and then take the cover off. So I've now got my 360-degree lens. I can put the camera back on the bottom, or the battery back on the bottom, and I can stick it back in its mounting. The really cool thing about that is once it's in, so with the boost lens, I guess you kind of have to angle the camera to get the right shot, and then the camera stays still. Now you can use your app on your phone to do that. The really cool thing about these 360-degree lenses is you don't have to set them up at all. You just put them in the car and then you do everything in the edit afterwards. So I'm going to take this mount off the windscreen, put it down there, and I'm going to use this mount on the windscreen, and then that should be all I need to do, and we should be able to get some mega shots. 360, that is all good. Amazing. Now as we're going full 360, there is a big hedge in the way, but just take a look at that view. I mean, come on people, that is beautiful on a beautiful sunny day like today. Absolutely mega. Anyway, no, come back in the car, back in the car. The attention's on me, not the view over. No, back in the car. I'll let you look out the front window if you want, but just pay attention to me. Stop looking over there. This is where you really hope that tractor and trailer don't turn left. Don't turn left. Don't turn left. Don't turn left. Straight on. Go straight on. Go straight on. Mind melding them. Straight on. Straight on. It's not got an indicator going. This is a good sign. Yes. Oh, and the BMW's not going left either. Woohoo! There's a lorry down there, but this is rapidly becoming my favourite Porsche. And while we're on about nice views, just bend your neck to the left. I'll spin you round. Take a look at that way. Look at that. That's a beautiful, beautiful view. And what I love about this camera is one camera in a fixed position. Come back to me a minute, I'm talking to you. One camera in a fixed position can get that. I'll let you look at it now, go on. For this bit of road, this films as much about the view as it is the car. Oh, this car's good. I thought I'd finish with a very unusual camera angle. Well, where do I even begin to summarise this car? I love driving this car. You really do need to be on your A game, there's no denying it. It's very, very fast. It's not modern day supercar fast if you were to compare it with something like the modern day GT3 or a McLaren, something like that. They would be faster, they'd certainly feel faster, but what I love about this car is that kind of analog driving feel. There's very little driver aids, very firm weight to the steering, but at the same time the front end is so sharp and precise. The gearbox is lovely. There is a real weight to the clutch though, but when you get in the right gear and the noise it makes, oh, it's just delicious. Absolutely delicious. Now, if you've been intrigued by my Insta360 camera, then I'm going to put a link in the description below where you can find out more details. The ONE RS literally launched this week, so click on the link below and grab yourself one, because it's really, really interesting. What I love about it is it's two cameras in one. It's the same as the 360 camera I used in the GT3 video, but you've also got that 4K boost lens, which is brilliant just for my main camera. I really like the sharpness and the crispness of the image. The edit the images on your phone at the same time is really cool. But when you're using the 360 lens like I am at the moment, what I love about it is it's, you know, for me as a car YouTuber, sometimes we don't have a great deal of time to get the camera set up. You just need to get in the car and go. And what's great about the 360 lens, not only do you get that kind of very unique ability to spin the camera around and let you guys see different views, but it's dead easy for me because I literally just slap it up on the windscreen and off I go. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that one. I'm going to head back to Anthony James Cars and the keys back to this and work out where I can find 100 and something grand to buy one, because it's absolutely amazing. Really, really love it. Let me know what you think of the GT2. I'll see you on the next film, guys. You take care. Drive safe.